Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So, going into this episode, I felt like a couple of things happened, but not a lot. And I felt like there was a lot of flashbacks. Like, a lot. So let's get into it. So, Jordan, is in her office, and Matt comes in and he tells her that, he has some more information about TJ's abduction, and you could just see the look on Jordan's face. Jordan is just like, shit. Because Jordan doesn't want, Mac to kind of figure out, what really happened to TJ, because then Cyrus is going to know and is going to put everyone's life in danger. So she's just like, shit. So he's sitting there talking about all these different clues and stuff like that, and Jordan's like, okay, that's good. And then Mac is like, well, here's the thing, they never actually had a ransom, so whatever it is, it must be personal. And Jordan's like, yeah, well, they didn't ask me for anything, they didn't ask me for any money or anything like that, so yeah. And at that point, Mac is net to listen to her talk, and Mac is like, yo, there's just something off about this whole thing. They didn't leave a ransom or anything like that. They didn't. And then it was like the phone calls and stuff like that and the texts. And Mac was like, well, why would they actually text from your phone? Like, none of this adds up. Mac is just like, none of this adds up. And so Mac is just like, all right, Jordan, just let you know, if there's anything you want to talk about or anything that's going on, because, we're friends, I mean, he's pretty much saying, tell me what's going on, because this isn't adding up. And Jordan's like, nah, I'm good. I have nothing to confess. I mean, I'm not stressed, and I consider you a good friend, and I understand that you had to ask these questions. Right then and there, the minute that Mac was like, they didn't leave a ransom, so it must be personal. And when Jordan deflected, Mac was like, there's something off. But Mac was like, you know what, listen, I'm gonna drop it, even though I know there's something off. And so Mac leaves the room. Curtis comes in, and Jordan's like, alright, I'm about to finish up. I want to see TJ to make sure he's good and he's safe and everything like that. And, Curtis and Jordan leave the room. And then Mac is about to sit there and follow them. Mac just sits there and looks. He's like, yo, what is going on? And that's when Laura comes in. And, Mac's like, well, you just left. You just missed her. She walked on out. Yep, she walked on out. So that's pretty much about it. And then Laura's like, well, could you help me solve something else? We need to find a way to deal with Cyrus. I felt like Jordan knew that Mac Jordan knew that Mac was under her a little bit. Like, he didn't want to push, but he felt like there's something off. I'm not telling, he knows that there's something off. But it's like they both just agreed to just kind of drop it. And that's pretty much where that scene ends off. I mean, yeah, they talk about a lot of different things, as far as the case goes, and with the text messages and shit like that. But again, the takeaway from it is that Mac knows that there's something off about this whole kidnapping, and he knows that Jordan is hiding something. So, let's talk about Laura and Carly. So, Laura and Carly are sitting down, having lunch a little bit, just talking or whatever, chit-chatting. And, Carly's like, all right, with this whole Nell thing, she's talking about how she's stressed about Nell. And, she tells her the situation about how Nell is planning on not only getting Monica and Bobby fired, but also suing the hospital. Laura's like, listen, this isn't just some little thing that she's just gonna sue for like pennies and nickels. Like, them losing their jobs is the least of the is the least of everything. Her lawsuit, because it's not covered, because it was forced and stuff like that, it's not covered under just malpractice. She can take the hospital under. And that's just a big, you know what I'm saying? Like, she can pretty much, like, how much she's going to be asking for, she can literally take out the hospital. And even if she doesn't, even if somehow they were able to cover whatever she's trying to sue for, the publicity, the bad fucking publicity will be enough to fucking bury General Hospital. So either way, she plans on doing some major damage if this whole thing, with the fucking, this whole lawsuit can do some major damage is pretty much what Laura Smith is saying, which is fucking true. I knew it was bad, but when Laura described it, I was like, oh. Even if the money was solved, the fucking bad press will fucking bury General Hospital in itself. I mean, can you imagine, them fucking, like, that shit gets out about them forging signatures and shit like that for unnecessary surgeries? Who the hell is going to want to go to General Hospital at that point? So yeah, it's pretty fucking bad. So while they're snitcher talking, Cyrus is just like right there, just hanging out, just in the fucking Metro Court. Granted, after he's been told numerous times to fucking leave, he's just there with his drink, just like, hey, what's going on? So he walks over there. He walks over to Laura and Carly's table. He's like, hey, I just can't, but over here, the hospital may be in some financial trouble, and me being a, poor Charles citizen, I need to know these things. So, they're talking, and Cyrus offers both of them an invitation. Carly an invitation to her house. Like, it's a veiled threat. And then Carly's like, oh, why don't you do it? Why don't you send an invitation towards Sunny businesses? Like the warehouse or that place in Brooklyn, that you shot up. So it's just pretty much kind of like going tit for tat or whatever on the whole this conversation. But pretty much towards the end, Cyrus is like, hey, listen, I seriously want you to my housewarming party. And I want to sit there and try to invite you, Carly. And Carly's like, nah, I'm busy. But, I'll send an invitation to your house anyway, just in case, plans change. And don't worry, Laura, I know where you live. And Carly was like, well, it's public, she's a mayor, it's public record. So why would you sit there and say you know where she lives if everyone knows where she lives? Pretty much Carly called Cyrus out on his threat, but he was like, no, I got you, Laura. Don't worry. He leaves. Laura's like, you know what? I just lost my appetite. I can't even fucking eat this. And so she walks off. And that's pretty much where that scene ends off. So Michael drives Sasha to the hospital. They're in the elevator. Sasha is not there, gushing fucking blood and shit because Brooklyn accidentally wound up hitting Sasha instead of hitting Chase when she tried to punch him. And I was really confused yesterday because I was like, what happened? How did you wind up hitting Sasha instead of fucking Chase? But she swung so damn wildly that she just wound up hitting Sasha instead of Chase. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little kind of shocked. I mean, she always talks about she's from Bensonhurst, and she got that street tough from Bensonhurst, and she's all tough and Bensonhurst, but yet you can't throw a simple fucking punch. But whatever. So yeah, they're in the elevator, and Michael is there talking to Sasha, and Sasha's like, you didn't have to drive me to the hospital, and Michael's like, well, I didn't want to sit there and wait for Chase or whatever, and Chase is there handling Brooklyn, so I'll take you, it's no big deal or whatever. And Sasha's like, oh, well, you don't have to be nice to me. And I'm like, you're right, Sasha. Michael should be a dick to you. He should just be a dick to you from that moment moving on. We all know that he's not going to be a dick to her, but to be honest, she fucking deserves it. I mean, in storytelling, I mean, I know she's doing something noble, but he doesn't know that, so technically, he should be a dick to her. So they walk up the elevator. They see, I was gonna say Michael Eastwood. They see Finn and they see Willow. And so Finn is like, let me take a look at that or whatever. Let me take a look at your nose. Finn examines her in his office or whatever. And Finn's like, well, the good news is that it's not broken. It's a little bruised. There's no scarring. So here's some ice and it should heal fine. And Sasha's like, well, so much for me being the model of deception, the face of deception. I'm like, that's a really good point. She's punched you in the face and you're supposed to be a model. Well, I guess that issue's gonna go out late. And Finn is like, listen, Chase told me everything that's going on, and for my 2 cents in it, it's a pretty shitty plan. And they go back and forth, and Sasha's like, well, I'm doing it for the greater good, I'm doing it for Wiley. And Finn pretty much says the same thing to Chase that he's saying to her. Let them have the choice. Don't sit there and take that choice away from them. It's not fair to everyone. It's not fair to anyone. It's not even fair to Wiley, But Sasha's like, I'm sticking to it. It's the plan, and I have to believe that it's gonna work out. And that's pretty much their talk. And on the other side, Willow and Michael are talking for a little bit. And, he explains the whole situation about how Sasha got the bloody nose. And, towards the end, they just sit there and say, don't worry, we're going to make this work. We got the custody here and tomorrow. And, we pretty much gotta have our A game going on. So, that was it. Nothing really significant that really went on. Just looking at my notes. Cheating. So Curtis meets Jason and Sonny at the docks. And they talk for a little bit. And Sonny's like, well, where's Jordan at? Like, I want her input on this whole thing because, I know that Cyrus has her under his thumb. I want to hear her input on it. And Jordan's like, listen, she can't be connected to this whole thing. And she doesn't even know about this meeting. So Curtis is just like, hey, listen, I know what you do. Why does he not have a bullet in his head for her? And Sonny's like, listen, it's a delicate situation. And Jason kind of is the go-between. So Jason's like, listen, we can't sit there and act on this too fast because it'll bring heat to us. And we have to just wait for the timing is right because all eyes will be on us. And Curtis is like, so what, you waiting for better optics? Meanwhile, we're all fucking in danger, we're screwed. And Curtis is like, listen, you need to get this shit done. I have a family. I don't want him to sit there talking to anyone else, including Trina and Trina's mom. So Curtis is like, yo, you need to get this shit done. Curtis is being impatient. Sonny's just like, listen, have patience. When time is right, I will handle him. And that's pretty much what he talked about for like a good 7 or 8 minutes. Curtis is being impatient, and Jason is trying to reassure him, listen, we'll handle it and we'll do it the right way. So, quick little sidestep. Let me pause it for a second. So, Trina comes and sees Portia at the hospital. And Trina's like, hey, listen, I just, the movie was great and everything, but I just want to come and see you. I want to see how you were doing and stuff like that. And Portia's like, all right, so, yeah, why don't you tell me what's really going on? Are you afraid of going home by yourself or anything like that? And, getting a ride home by yourself? And Trina's like, no, I'm good. But, I just want to just hang out with you. And so Trina's like, so you want to make sure that I'm protected and stuff like that. You're worried about me. You're worried about my safety. So, Portia reassures her that I'm fine and, the police are great here and there's nothing to worry about. And, Trina's like, yeah, I don't know about the police being so great because, Jordan pretty much put my dad under the bus. Just threw my damn dad under the bus and made up a bunch of lies that aren't true. So they go back and forth, and Portia's like, listen, Jordan had to do what Jordan had to do, and you're not really upset with Jordan, for her telling the truth or whatever, right? And Trina's like, no. And then Cyrus just walks into the hospital, which I don't understand why Cyrus is walking into the hospital for. I guess he overheard about the hospital probably being maybe shut down, and you know, Cyrus being the entrepreneur that he is, he's like, hey, let me talk to some people, try to see if I can get some cash flowing in here. Pretty much money laundering. So he tries to get the head start on the whole in case General Hospital gets his ass sued off. And so right when he walks in, Trina's like, oh, hell no. So Trina walks right up to Cyrus like, hey, listen, I know what you did. You're a scumbag, this, that, and the third. You killed my dad, blah, 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 blah. She didn't say kill my dad, but, I mean, she might as well have. And, you know, Cyrus is just playing it cool. Okay. On a side note, I fucking love Cyrus. I haven't loved the villain so much since Lorenzo Alcazar. And granted, he's still my favorite villain to this day, followed by Faith Roscoe. You know those two names, you know how far I go back. But I fucking love Cyrus. So Cyrus is like, hey, listen, I don't know what's going on. Like, what's your problem? Why you yelling at me for? I didn't do anything. I'm just here. Like, you know, I mean, can a guy just not go to the hospital? So, you know, Trina is being all loud and everything like that. Curtis walks up and is like, yo, don't you sit there and get near her and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, bro, first of all, Trina was the one that actually walked up to Cyrus, not the other way around. But Curtis is like, hey, listen, I don't want you near my family. I don't want you near them or anybody else. And just gets on his face like he's about to do something. Now, Cyrus is like, Cyrus is the type of guy that just plays it cool. Cyrus is the guy that lets that person make their first move and counters, you know? Do what you're going to do because it's just going to fall back on you even more. Now, Jordan is right there, too. So they both, you know, walk in and see it. And I know Jordan's just like, yo, listen, don't do anything stupid. Please don't do anything stupid. We're going to find out on Monday because, you know, they don't show new episodes on Friday. But yeah, so that's pretty much where that ends off. Just a standoff between Curtis and Cyrus. Let me just pause it for a second. Yeah. So, like I said, and the thing is, okay, so that's pretty much the end of the recap. Like I said, not a lot actually happened in this episode, which is really odd. And I felt like they dragged on a lot of the conversations, like the conversation between Jordan and Mac, for example. You know, or in the first few minutes of the episode, Mac is snitted telling Jordan everything that happened before between, TJ remembering a little bit, and there was a lot of flashbacks too. So between the flashbacks and Curtis just re-catching everyone else up to speed about the case, there really wasn't a lot that went on. All that went on was Mac was sitting there talking and Jordan was deflecting, you know? And after a while, I felt like Mac just kind of knew, like, what is going on, you know? The minute he was sitting there talking about this seems like it was personal, that's when Jordan started deflecting. And that's when Mac knew something was up, and Mac was like, listen, if there's something that you want to talk to me about, if there's something that you need to get off your chest, you need to let me know. And then that's when he starts asking, you know, did you get any sort of ransom notes or anything like that? Why did the kidnapper send text messages to your phone to make you think that, you know, he was okay or whatever, like, and just Jordan deflecting, and then after a while Mac just dropped it. You know, again, there wasn't a lot that happened. Even the scenes between Sonny, Jason, and Curtis, all Curtis was pretty much doing was asking the same thing: when are you gonna handle Cyrus? When are you gonna handle Cyrus? When are you gonna handle Cyrus? And Sonny's just like, yo, listen, when the time gets right, I'll handle him. You know, but you asking me, I felt like after a while, Sonny just had that look on his face like, the more you keep asking me, the more I know I'm getting. Because you ask me the same question about 20 or 30 times, it's not going to make me go any faster. And Cyrus just being there with Laura and Carly just being intimidating, you know. Veiled threats here and there, talking about sending invitations out, and talking about eavesdropping, first of all, because Carly was like, why are you eavesdropping for? And so I was like, well, I've been in jail a while, and I've been hearing a lot of men talking, so it'd be really nice to hear the voice of two beautiful women, just being Cyrus, like very cryptic, very creepy, and just veiled threats. And that's pretty much that whole scene was about. So yeah, I felt like the episode was a lot shorter than usual, but they just stressed it out because, yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for this recap of GH. Now tomorrow, I will sit there and try to do the flashback Fridays, and that depends on, well, if there's not a news interruption, because they don't play it on Hulu, and they don't play it on that other channel that they tell people to go to whenever there's a news interruption of General Hospital. So again, I will do my best to I'll do my best to sit there and try to do a recap on it, because I enjoy them, and I for the most part, the flashback Fridays have been a lot better. So that's gonna do it for this recap. Have a good day, have a good night, depending on when you're watching this. Be safe, all that good stuff, and I will catch you in the next recap.